Hey guys, welcome back to the series of JavaScript tutorials, and I like pretty much to talk about a new topic to us into this tutorial set of tutorials. JQuery. JQuery is the topic, and I'm gonna briefly discuss what is JQuery. So to jump into it, JQuery is simply a front-end library that is JavaScript written and allows us to have an easier way of handling events, handling Ajax requests to our server, animations, and a whole lot of stuff. So jQuery is a brief simple syntax like I told you guys, and I'm just gonna explain this in a simple line of code. Alright, so let me get down to it and have a button here like we always do, and then let me just leave it to button, and then I'm gonna have to give it an ID so that I can access it real quick, and let me call it button, and then let me say click, and this is pretty much what we call vanilla JS, or raw JS. So this is raw JS, and in order to type an event handler, get element by ID, and you have our ID as button, and then you have our event as add event listener, yeah, and then you have the click event, and then you have a callback function here, function, and then you simply have that, and then let's say every time you click you have an alert like you've clicked, and that's simple as that. And let's try and execute our code, and yeah, and you see it's telling us clicked. So in jQuery it's simple, you don't need to use vanilla JS, and in order for you to use jQuery, I'm gonna show you simply the syntax right after I show you things you need to understand as a JavaScript developer when you're dealing with jQuery. So jQuery is a library, and as most libraries they have references, documentation, and they have downloading sources. And jQuery has its site. Developers for jQuery have their own site called https jQuery.com, and you can just search this, and I'm gonna have this link in the descriptions below. There you can actually download the jQuery version. Since I have my jQuery version 3.31, I guess is the one that I'm using, yeah, minified version. You're gonna have to just place it among your scripts and just read through, and this is pretty much the documentation. You can go to the API documentation and just have a brief look at the implementation of various things in jQuery. Okay, so there's this stuff here, so you can actually see the documentation step by step until you have everything understood. Since I cannot actually tell you each and everything in this documentation in jQuery, it will be it will consume a lot of time, and also be not going to be relevant for me to tell you all this stuff. Okay, so jQuery syntax, and in order for you to use jQuery, you need to have actually imported it before your script, because your script is dependent upon the jQuery functions and stuff like that. So here is where we have a similar thing, but in jQuery. So you only need to have a document, sorry, it's not like that, document So this will target the document object model. So document dot ready, have a ready function there, and it takes a callback function, and the callback function now can be executed there, and we can briefly have the alert here to show you what I'm talking about. So let's say insight. So pretty much this will demonstrate that you've actually logged in the site. So insight. So you're going to wonder that what does this really mean? This really means that anytime the document has been fully loaded and each HTML content is viewable in your site and stuff like that, then the functions that are going to be below here are going to be functions that actually are going to be used, let's say in event handling or Ajax requests. They're gonna be actually be seen by your browser after everything has loaded. So this is document.ready, after the document is ready. So from there we'll actually need a call to our button, as simple as that. That will actually call our button, and this hash resembles CSS, so this hash pretty much is for the ID. And then you have your click function, and the function then takes another callback. So there are a lot of callbacks here, and then you have alert, and you just print the same message called clicked. And let's try this in jQuery. So you see clicked appears. So this pretty much is jQuery, and jQuery is pretty much dope. Let's try something out. Okay, let me have to tag, then I have to target this there so that I can actually trigger it to disappear. Okay, fade out, guess. Yeah, you can actually see that once I click my button, it actually disappears. Click it, it disappears. So this is actually some form of animation, or simply having your website having this simple tricks here and there, and stuff like that. So let me show you one thing that I think it's really cool. Class, and let's say add class and info. Okay, and let's try do that. Shift I. Let's try do that. Let's go now in our HTML file, have an inline style. So we'll actually need the style tag. Let me just write it for you in case you wonder what that is. So type is equals to text CSS, and then you have this closing style tag, and you're just gonna have the class of info, and just give info a color, let's say a background color, background color of red, or let's say moccasin. I love moccasin. Yeah, and then let's try that. Yeah, you see it actually has a great way of actually implementing some of these animation changes. So actually here you see that once I click, it adds this class is gotten from my inline internal style script I mean, and this actually triggers the change of the button. And the final thing, let's say let's try that and see what that does. So the background color changes to red, and this is simply just a small example of what we can actually do with JQuery. So JQuery can be used for a lot of animations and a lot of stuff, so event handling. And from now on, JavaScript tutorials, I'm gonna use JQuery to create tutorials in JavaScript. So go to this website, go and look at the documentation. So you can actually go, let's say you want to look at how to manipulate let's say you want to look at the effects. So you want to look at an effect like fading. We actually have done something to do with fading right now. So we faded out a particular item. So it's fade out, fade in, fade out, and fade to. So adjust the opacity of the matched elements. So you can actually click on fade to and view examples here on fade to. So fade to slow and fade opacity 0.5 and the function animation complete. So let's try this out. So once you click, we need to fade to, right? And the first thing is to dictate that we need to fade it slow and fade it to opacity of 0.5, and then function after the animation is complete. We need to do something after the animation is complete and say changed opacity to 0.5 or something like that. Let me use alert so that it can actually be generate the GUI. So change opacity to 0.5. so this is actually half. It's actually going to be half faded, half visible. Let's try and check that out. So it's like after it has completed to fade, since you see its opacity is actually changed, right? So after it's finished fading, the changed opacity to 0.5 is then seen. And that's it for this tutorial. So it has been pretty nice. And look at jQuery, because you can't be a JavaScript developer at this time without the knowledge of jQuery and how to use jQuery to your advantage. And anything you want to look at, AJAX requests, attributes, CSS, and data, whatever thing you want to look at, it's pretty much advisable to go to this site, because they actually have direct reference to whatever you're looking for. Okay, so until next time, happy coding. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and comment if I've left anything out.